hanging out with us inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We are bringing you a fantastic broadcast today. I'm very pleased and very honored and privileged to have my good friend of over a decade, Mr. Tim Lester, joining me on the show today. Tim and I met when he was the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, as well as a great recruiter for the Syracuse Orange football team, and he has since moved on to the college ranks in different parts of the country and is now part of the Green Bay Packers, moving on to the NFL for his first stint ever in the National Football League, and he is a special analyst with the Green Bay Packers, and as that job of special analyst goes, he has the opportunity of being an offensive guy who's now being the offensive coordinator of the other team, helping Green Bay's defense prepare for the offenses that they'll go up against. So having to help the defensive side while still focusing on the offensive side, I believe is going to just increasingly make somebody who's already good at his job and good at what he does and good at recruiting and bringing people together, making him even better and more well-versed and more multi-layered. So Tim Lester's joining me today. This is a great primer for the NFL and a great opportunity for us to take a really deep look at the quarterback position, as him and I are going to be speaking on Jordan Love, the Packers post Aaron Rodgers. We'll take a look at the NFC North and break down those teams that he's going to see in division with the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, and the Chicago Bears. And we're also going to talk about phasing. Phase 1, 2, and 3, what quarterbacks do it well. We'll speak on the running quarterback. Honestly, if you're a fan of football and you're a fan of the quarterback position and you're a fan of any one of the 32 NFL franchises, this is a great conversation to watch and listen to this morning, as we're going to touch on so many elements of the quarterback position, and we're going to really break down the NFL. So if you are priming yourself for the upcoming 2023-24 season, you've come to the right place, and we definitely look forward to having Tim on the show. So he'll be up here with us. Our special will be airing in just a moment, and then we'll round out the show as we always do on a Tuesday with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the street from Liverpool High School, where we have our Liverpool events every single month. Every month at Avicolli's, I feature the Liverpool Warriors sports teams as well. I mean, their coaches, their student athletes, and then tonight we're actually going to be doing a leadership lounge, which we do every summer with Dan Henner, the superintendent, will be joining me, and athletics director Ari Lieberman of Liverpool High School. So Avicolli's right down the road from Liverpool High School, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, once again at the corner of Wetzel Road and Route 57. So, a lot of great stuff coming up with the ingredients to success, another positive-based segment on a positive-based show here for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you being with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. If you want to make it easy for yourself, you could just go to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and on the homepage you will see the Podbean feed and the Facebook logo, as well as the YouTube logo. You could click on any one of those Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and you'll be able to listen and watch our show live. So, with that being said, we're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. Tim Lester, right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, back from this fast break where sports meets life. You're with us on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. It's worldwide, so you can watch and listen from anywhere Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I am picture-in-picture right now with my guy Tim Lester. I've known him now for over a decade, which is insane. And I get to wear this courtesy this morning of my Wake Up Call logo with the sun rising out of the coffee cup. We're part of your morning, and we're proud to be every single week of the year. And I want to thank my two doors down friend from freshman year for being my graphic designer, John Granquist, who went to Marywood for graphic design and a bunch of stuff. He designed all my helped me redesign everything during COVID. And I said, we're going to be advantageous and we're going to make everything look better than it's ever been. So I got to give him credit for this and East Coast Specialties. And someday I will give Mark Burrell, John Granquist, credit for helping me have Tim Lester from head to toe in Wake Up Call gear is what I want. So how you doing, Mr. Lester?
I am doing great, man. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too. So let everybody know where you're at now and how in the official title for this new chapter of your life. I didn't want to say it. I wanted you to say it.
Yeah, I'm with the Green Bay Packers now, and my role it's called senior analyst. So I am, there's not a lot. There's a lot of analyst position at the college level. Yeah. Not so much in the NFL, but Green Bay's had one for the last 3 years, and it's a really unique position. I love it. I mean, I'm learning, and much like you're always trying to find ways to grow, right? And so this role I'm definitely an offensive guy. Everyone knows that. But my primary responsibility is to work with the defense and make sure that I am the guy that answers the questions in the room of what they're trying to do. What, when they make mistakes, I can let them know. Don't chase down that rabbit hole that guy screwed up. Or really study the opponent. I mean, that's the biggest thing is being the offensive coordinator of the opponent and watching enough film that, you get to know. Obviously we're in the NFC, we're in the North. So, I watched a lot of the Lions and a lot of the Vikings and a lot of the Bears the last 3 months. Growing up in Chicago, I know a lot about the Bears, but just watching their quarterbacks and their offensive line tendencies and just trying to really give the information to the defensive guys. They're really smart and they know what to do with it. I just want to let them know what's coming, hopefully before they do, and so it's been fun because when they're not asking me questions about offense, I learn a ton of defense because they're talking the adjustments, their changes, why they're switching blitzes, switching fronts, adjusting fronts, stuff a room you're not allowed into too often as an offensive guy. So I just keep my mouth shut and listen and then I can, like I said, I think I told you when we talked, I can hear the questions coming because they'll start trying to design something new and say, hey, if we did this, what would they do? And it's like, then they all turn around and I'm in the back and say, well, the line's going to slide the other way if the quarterback sees it. If he doesn't see it, you're going to knock him out. Let's try it. And so it's been a lot of fun. And obviously I've never been in the NFL. Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, is a good friend of mine. He played with me at Western Michigan. I coached his little brother at Elmhurst College right before I came to Syracuse. And so I've known the family forever, mom and dad. And then Matt's little brother, he GA'd for me and coached for me a little bit. He's the offensive coordinator now of the Rams. So his brother's with the Rams, and obviously Matt's done a heck of a job at Green Bay as the head coach. So it's been fun to make that jump. But there's never a good time to make the jump. You either start when you're young and you're an NFL guy, or you start as a college guy, and it's hard to go back and forth. So it has been a unique opportunity to get in the NFL and have really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see everything's new, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no recruiting right now. I haven't been on my phone in a week other than texting you. Normally I'm on it 30 times a day to see who tweeted what or who's visiting who or who's committing. And so everything we do, camp will be different. Having 3 preseason games will be different. Having a season that goes into January is not going to be that much different. I mean, most of our bowl games were late December anyway. So, I mean, the season will be a little bit longer. And obviously the players can do some amazing things. I've coached a lot of NFL players, but being around a bunch of them has been so much fun. So it's definitely different, exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the fall brings.
Yeah, and like you said, being an offensive guy and you played quarterback at Western Michigan in college, and you've been a quarterbacks coach and an offensive coordinator and a head coach. And so getting this senior analyst job with the Green Bay Packers and getting to be, like you said, the offensive coordinator of the other team, and it's your job to scout them and know them and use your offensive mind to benefit the defense. This is a new world for you, that you're still the offensive mind, but you're the offensive mind that is generating a plan for a defense, which I would imagine, if you ever step back into being a head coach, is going to make you a better head coach.
Oh yeah. I mean, the amount I've learned in 3 months it's crazy. The fact, just having access to the defensive staff, and sitting in and being like, why do you do it this way? Or why do you have the guy turn his hips this way? And so it's been so much fun trying to just expand your knowledge of what they're doing. Cause that's what it's about. Like once you get through install, like once you teach your offensive guys the offense, all you do is talk defense. Like as a quarterback coach, you literally are just talking about them the whole time. You're not talking about us. I don't need to teach you what this route is. You already know that. It's just, hey, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. This is, when you see those quarterbacks with those iPads on the sideline, they're not looking at the offense. All they're doing is focusing on the defense. So it's been fun. I used to, as a head coach, I would take one afternoon during the week, about a 3-hour timetable, and I would do an analysis of the quarterback and take a peek quickly at the O-line that we were going to face. And I would meet with our defensive coordinator and try to find something. We played Sam Darnold my first game, and I did a report on him to give to our defensive guys what I thought, was the best way to slow him down, and so basically that's what I'm doing all full time now. Like what I did to try as the head coach, I know I ran the offense, but I would try to spend 3 hours and watch the quarterback. There was one team we played last year that I'm not kidding you. Every single time the quarterback grabbed for his towel, it was a pass play every time. And if he didn't grab it, there were a couple passes, but it was like 90% run. And, those are like just habits and ticks that quarterbacks have. I had one. When I played, if you saw me lick my fingers, it was a pass play. You should have known it. And I knew it too. And I tried to do it on run plays, but I'd forget half the time because there was too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so I've done this before. I did this with our defense here at Western when I was there. And but it was just for 3 hours. I couldn't get away from the offense too long. So now I'm doing it 24/7. So I'm watching a ton of film, and so it's been a lot of fun.
So being in the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers, you have, like you said, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit. Let's start with Minnesota. What are your thoughts when you watch Kirk Cousins and the crew on film? What are your thoughts about their offense?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch them. I mean, Dalvin Cook no longer being there is a good thing, I think, for us, not having to tackle that dude.
Yeah.
But, Kirk Cousins, I recruited him out of high school. I've known him for a long time. In fact, my one of my young little guys is going to his camp here in a couple days. I'm going to see him. He has a camp here in Southwest Michigan where I'm at at the lake. And so I'm going to see him in a couple days. But he's just super efficient. And Justin Jefferson he's as good as they come, so he can do everything and anything, and figuring out what he does when he lines up in different spots. I've been trying to narrow some of that down, but they're just super efficient. The thing about Kirk Cousins is a lot of NFL teams, I believe, and would love to have a guy that just doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. Now, does he make that one play where he runs around and hurdles through people and looks left and throws right? No.
Yeah.
But he's also going to be a guy that never loses a game for you, and so he's always going to be. I mean, how many last-second wins did they have last year? They went on like an 8-game stretch. The one against Buffalo was crazy. I think it was like a Sunday night game, because I always had it on in the office when we were studying the next opponent, and I actually had to stop to watch the end of the Bills Vikings game. It was like the most unbelievable ending I've ever seen, and so they're gonna be super efficient and not turn the ball. They're not gonna make it easy on you. You know what I mean? And that's always hard. They're gonna be in it on the last drive. And so they make it tough, because if you can get turnovers in any level of football, if you got a guy that loves to throw the ball to the other team, you can put a team away. But no one can put them away because of him. And he's good at everything. And that's why he's been in the league for, I don't even know. Someone did the math the other day. I think he's made like $250 million in the NFL as a quarterback. So obviously he's respected when your numbers are up there.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people say Kirk Cousins is a middle of the road guy. He's a manage the game guy. Yet, this manage the game guy spent a decade in the NFL. So. Yeah. I mean, so it's nice to hear a quarterback and an analyst talk about him, because I think he's better than average. But so many people, he's all right. But Justin Jefferson, I want to go to him for a second. Cooper Kupp a couple of years ago was unstoppable. Teams knew the ball was going to him. They couldn't stop him. What happened last year? And it leads me into the question of Justin Jefferson. If Cooper Kupp was the best going into last season, arguably, and he got shut down at times, how do you do that? Is it just the wear and tear of Cooper Kupp? Is it teams just getting really better at scheming? Because they say that you can't stop the best, you can only try to contain them. But can you see in Cooper Kupp that defenses just figured him out? And in the argument, can you figure out a Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to figure out Justin Jefferson. Kupp got hurt, because he was still rolling, and it was one of those injuries that it's going to take a while for him to get back to his form. And when he does, he'll be one of the best route runners and change of speed receivers that you've seen. The thing about him is I think the thing that made Cooper Kupp special was, and you can see it all over the film, they're the little things that no one watches. is he had the ability to be the grunt. I think Hines Ward, like the guy that would go in there and run through the B gap and block a linebacker, and every team has one of those. Every team has a guy that'll motion in, and he's the guy that you need in the run game to. Normally, that guy is not as dynamic as Cooper Kupp, and that was him. So you never knew, like most of the star guys aren't those guys that do that. They don't do the grunt work, and so he'd go in there and block defensive ends, outside linebackers, or act like he was blocking them, and then all of a sudden, end up out the back door of the formation. He's an unbelievable option route runner where you give him 3 or 4 options and let him and Stafford go to work. And then, having Stafford get hurt, I think hurt him a little bit as well. Then they were both out, and that obviously the team struggled then. But Justin Jefferson, the thing about him is he can run by you. I don't think anyone was too afraid of Kupp just flat out hauling and just running one of those 8s or 9s. And whereas Justin Jefferson he can run a hitch, he can run a slant, he can run a dig, he can run deep. I mean, there's really nothing he can't do. So you have to know where they're both at all times. It's just the amount of field you have to cover with, Justin Jefferson on that side of the field. And he can get from one side to the other in like 5 strides. The strides are like 7 yards a piece once he gets going. So he has been, and I think in our first game this year, he had a heck of a game. And the second time we played him, Jair, our corner, did a heck of a job. I mean, he made it hard for him to get off the line of scrimmage and then followed him around all over the place. We always had someone over the top of him. So they did a really good job in our second time playing the Vikings this year. But he is definitely the guy that I don't think you're going to stop him, but you just hope to keep him in front of you, and come up and make tackles. Just don't let him get behind you because you will not catch up,
And it's funny you mentioned Jair Alexander coming from Louisville, who I covered in college, and seeing him as starting corner for the Green Bay Packers. What is it about, from quarterback to quarterback, what is it about Kirk Cousins that you think is better than average? Like
his feet. His feet are unbelievable. Like it's, and you gotta understand, Matt LaFleur, our head coach, coached him at the Redskins. He was his quarterback coach, so he knows him really well too. And the ball's on time every time. The game, the windows. It's so much fun when people, put on these VR deals and they get to see what it's like in the pocket and how fast the windows open and close. And that ball has to go, whether it's complete or not, it has to go through the window at the right time. If the receiver got to the spot, great. If he didn't, he didn't. But it's not going to be picked by anyone that's creating these windows, So his feet, like, I'm a huge feet guy and grading feet, and I know the timing of each throw. And so I'm looking at your feet. I know what you threw. You threw a curl. Did you one hitch the curl? Because if you two hitch the curl, then you're late. Even if you complete it, I don't care. You're late. It should be one hitch, ball out. And he's on time every time. I mean, it's like guys like him, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, like the guys that feet, they're unbelievable. Like Peyton Manning, I think I told you the story. Tim Hiller, who played for me at Western a long time ago, he had a cup of coffee with the Colts, and he called me because he was so fired up because when Peyton Manning was with the Colts, they literally had a guy whose job was to take this little step ladder out and go about 12 yards behind the huddle and video from his waist down. He would video Peyton Manning's feet. So when you watched practice film, you'd watch the wide view, the end zone view, and then you'd watch his feet. I zoomed in right on the screen, his lower half. So he was so on it with his feet that he had his own camera guy that only filmed his lower half, so he could watch the wide and be like, "Ooh, I felt like I was a little late," and look at his feet and see where his weight didn't transfer correctly. Yeah. And obviously he had David Cutcliffe coaching him, who's a master of understanding timing and footwork. And so that's what I think makes Kirk special. It's above average. It's great. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like if you're a receiver there now, granted he doesn't have like the Brett Favre arm, but when you turn, the ball's going to be about 5 feet away from you. So get your head around because it's not going to be late. You're not going to see it out of his hand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be halfway there when you turn, and that's a special gift because some guys have such great arms that they just rely on holding it one extra second, and then trying to fire it in there. Now, maybe they have the arm to get it in there, but you also are going to have to throw it at Mach 10 to get it there, and the chances of it being caught go down. The tips and overthrows happen that way. Whereas Kirk he's on time every time, man. It's fun to watch as a quarterback.
I appreciate everything you said, and it also made me think of a joke that, a lot of people that film feet usually go to jail for that. So
true. Yeah. Funny story. That's another program.
The Chicago here with Tim Lester, senior analyst for the Green Bay Packers on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Looking at the Chicago Bears, obviously a different set of skills that we're watching here with Justin Fields, their quarterback, and what he brings to the table. Now, their running backs have been switching around and changing over these last couple seasons. Khalil Herbert coming from Virginia, Dante Foreman, who originally was a Houston Texan, has moved around a little bit. Travis Homer, who spent some time with the Miami Hurricanes in college, then came over to the Seattle Seahawks. So the running back room is different. DJ Moore is there now. Chase Claypool came in a trade last year during the season. Darnell Mooney from Tulane has tried to step it up. Cole Kmet has been one of the trusted hands at tight end that doesn't get, I think, the credit that he deserves. But, a lot of people knock Justin Fields and have a problem with Justin Fields. With your job of being senior analyst to be the offensive coordinator of the other teams, when you look at Chicago and playing Justin Fields twice this season, what do you see from his weapons? And what do you see from Fields that you think he does so well, because he is someone that takes a lot of criticism?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Chicago, so I've watched him a lot, and I think the biggest thing that everyone gets on him about is something when you're young and you have to play as early as he had to play. I think they've done a good job of trying to put weapons around him, because I've watched last year's film and they didn't protect him great last year. I know they made some moves and they're trying to continue to solidify the guys in front of him. But there's nothing worse than being a quarterback and getting hit as much as he gets hit. He can obviously take it to the paint on you. I mean, he's gonna, every time he pulls it down, it's like playing Lamar. It's a heart attack for waiting to happen for the defensive coordinator, because he pulls it down and you're just hoping he doesn't get to the edge, because he can do that. But I think what they're really trying to do is with the DJ Moore trade, that they're trying to bring in, more weapons for him, and has the offense line, and just let him get comfortable. That's the biggest thing. When I watch that film, a lot of times last year is when he got comfortable back there, he was starting to get, he can throw it. I mean, he wouldn't get to where he's at if he can't. I mean, he can lace the ball. But they just got to protect him, because once you start getting hit, yeah, it's a rough job, especially by these guys. These dudes they're going to hit you and it's going to hurt. And so I think that's the biggest thing is, one, when you're playing a guy like that, you gotta keep him contained the best you can in the pocket. And then, you gotta hopefully get to him, where he stops, his feet, he starts hesitating, that, like the opposite of Kirk Cousins. Like the feet are, it's like hesitate. And that all spawns from, I always tell people for years and years in the NFL, more quarterbacks are ruined than made. Like guys like even Mahomes got to sit out a year, and Rodgers got to sit, and Jordan Love got to sit for 3 years. I don't know if you remember watching Steve Young when he was with Tampa Bay, but he stunk. He was getting killed, and then he went and got to sit behind a little bit and learn, and because he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He gets on there with the 49ers. He's unbelievable. So there's just so many of these young quarterbacks that are playing as rookies now. Yeah. And that's hard. That is hard. And you hope they can keep their confidence. I mean, I could list a whole bunch. I don't want to list a bunch of names. A bunch of dudes that played as rookies that didn't make it. that probably, if they were backups for 2-3 years, might have had a good shot of being good quarterbacks. But that's not the business right now. So he had to play as a rookie. He's taken a lot of hits. He's been tough. He keeps getting up. I think people in Chicago respect that part of him because they see him getting hit, getting up, and they watch him run the ball and put his body on the line for the team. So I think they're just kind of waiting for him to take that next step. But if they can get some weapons and some protection for him and a run game for him as they're figuring that out, I think that'll help him get into a groove.
Well, and you mentioned rookie guys rookie quarterbacks that were playing right away that didn't make it. I mean, 3 of them are on the Browns. Johnny Manziel, Brady Quinn, Tim Couch. You look at Ryan Leaf with the Chargers. There's a bunch of guys, Chris Winkie with the Panthers, and there's a bunch of guys that you can sit here and look at the franchises and just name them off. I mean, for goodness sakes, in recent history, Zach Wilson with the Jets, and
Sam Darnold before him,
right? So you put these guys in a situation. It was funny because they did that with me. I mean, I've been a Jaguar fan since the creation of the Jaguars in '95. And I was 9 years old at the time. And I've been a Jaguars fan since day zero. I had people ask me going into last season what I consider, and I understand everybody, you ask the question, whatever. But to me, I thought the question was ridiculous. And the question was, and I got it from multiple people, do you think Trevor Lawrence will be okay? Will we ever see Trevor Lawrence be good in the NFL? And I was like, did you watch Peyton Manning his rookie year when they won one game and he threw 20 some odd interceptions? And I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I said, yeah, he's going to be fine. Well, why do you think so? I said, number one, I told you that line on Jacksonville was going to break up after that year. There's no way they could have kept that line with all those veterans and all that money if it got injured again, because that line had never played healthy together for a full season. And so what did they do? They broke it up. They brought in some pieces, Brandon Sheriff. They went and drafted a guy out of Kentucky to play center in Fortner. So they Tyler Shatley, who was the great guy that kept standing in at guard and standing in at center. They finally gave him a couple of years on a contract and said, okay, you know what? We want you to play here and show what you could do. Juwan Taylor didn't show himself this year. They let him go. They let him go after his rookie contract. So, when push comes to shove, my answer was easy. Yeah, they need to get an offensive line to block for him. Number one. Number two, he's a rookie. Number three, look at Peyton Manning's career. Number four, he's Trevor Lawrence. He's 6'6", which you can't teach. The man knows how to lead. He won in high school. He won in college. Clemson was not known to be, they had Deshaun Watson before that, and there was something that they were building. But Trevor Lawrence has had hype his entire career, and he's answered it with victories and championships. And so when people asked me if I was worried, I said, no. I said, mark my words, in his sophomore season, he will have an uptick year, and he's going to be all right. And he might go down as one if he continues his trajectory, they continue to protect him, and he can stay in that franchise and grow it. He arguably might go down as one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen, and maybe arguably the best Jacksonville player ever if he stays there. So am I nervous? No. Why? Because most rookie quarterbacks that end up being Hall of Famers aren't that good in their first season. And that's just the reality of the jump. So
none of them are. As a rookie, the game is so fast and so different than college. And you're getting hit by guys way bigger than you got hit and faster, and the defenses are more complicated. And so it's hard. I understand the mathematics and the business side of it. If you draft a guy that early, you want to play him early. And I think that's great if you can protect him early. Yeah. If you can give him a run game, if you can, not ask him to win on every play, just hand the ball off every once in a while. Like Roethlisberger had Jerome Bettis behind him. Just hand that dude the ball, and we're going to have you throw it 20 times a game. That's it. And then eventually you throw it at 50 when he was ready for it, Yeah. So it is it's been going on in the NFL for years, and so when they do play young, you just hope they have a good plan, a good line, some weapons around them, and but it can go the other way. I see it go the other way more than it goes the right way, and I felt the same way about Trevor Lawrence. I was a big fan of his. And so you just you don't even judge. You just hope he stays healthy and continues to learn and get better. And so year one, I don't even judge after year one because like you said, Peyton Manning led the NFL in interception, which normally you get fired when you do that, but not if you're a rookie. If they're smart, you just let them continue to learn, and he did. And then the curve, it goes, and he took off, and I wouldn't shock me if Trevor does the same thing.
Yeah, and I want to go back to Justin Fields for a second because you talked about Lamar Jackson here with Tim Lester, senior analyst for the Green Bay Packers on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I can safely say that this is the show that he's had most residency with over the last decade plus.
Yes.
So being a running quarterback in Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson doing that as well, a two-parter. What are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson as a dual threat? How good of a runner and how good of a passer is he coming from a quarterback to a quarterback? That's part one. Part two is being a former quarterback. What are your thoughts about the dual threat guy? Because people say, well, they're really hard to play and they're really hard to tackle. But the other argument is they normally knock themselves out of the league a lot faster, a la RG3, in of recent history, and the concern of Lamar Jackson being injured the last couple of years, and obviously Justin Fields having a recent injury. So the first part is Lamar Jackson as a passer and a runner. Where does he stack up? And then secondly, the running quarterback conundrum. Where do you stand on?
It's interesting because we went against Lamar Jackson at when I was at Syracuse, so I got to see him up close and personal.
Yeah.
And the one thing that stood out to me about this new age of running quarterbacks is I feel like the ones that make it are the ones that want to win in the pocket. Doesn't mean they're gonna. They want to.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, same thing. Like he does not go read one, maybe read two, I'm out of here. And in college, watching Lamar sit in the pocket and go through an entire progression, not get nervous, stay in the pocket. So what happens is the defense gets to their depths. They're way out of there. So when he takes off running, there's a lot of space, not a little space. There's a lot of space. And that's what made him so hard to stop because he sits in the pocket like Peyton did. Like he wants to play from the pocket. And when he gets out, you're in trouble. Before him, I really felt like a lot of them. Steve Young, I felt was the same way. He could really run it, but he went through his whole progression first.
Yeah.
A lot of running quarterbacks read like one thing, and then their eyes come down, and they start looking for holes to run in. You know what I mean? And that's really been the difference with the guys like Jalen Hurts and guys like Lamar Jackson, which they sit back there and they play the quarterback position for at least 3 seconds. And then they become your biggest nightmare running, and obviously them taking hits is a concern, and you hope they get better at taking care of their bodies and sliding when they can, but that's what I liked about Lamar is watching him and playing against him in college is he wasn't a standard scrambler. He wasn't dropping back thinking scramble. He was going through his entire progression, letting your secondary have to cover all the holes in their coverage. And then at the last minute, you blink and he's 20 yards down the field, right in the middle, tucked away, and you're in trouble. And if your linebackers hung too shallow, he'd rip a dig second level behind him, So I really felt like he had a chance. Now, injury is injury, right? So you can't really predict how that's going to happen. There's plenty of pocket quarterbacks that have had injuries too because they get hit. And they're in vulnerable positions when they get hit. But I really think that's the key to those guys. Like when you see a guy that wants we call it, for me, the way I coach quarterbacks is we came up with like a phase score. Like phase one is like a Kirk Cousins. He throws the ball in phase. Phase 1, 1, 2, 3, ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hitch, ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you ever see him take 2 hitches, he's probably checking it to his running back. Like that's a phase 1 quarterback. And then there's the guys. And then if that doesn't work, then you get into phase 2, which you're like working the pocket. Guys like Roethlisberger was great at that, like sliding to the left, creating another second or two to get into phase 2. And then when the pocket breaks down, they get into phase 3 and they got to scramble, And when you have a guy that goes phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you're in trouble as a defense. When you have a guy that goes phase 1 to phase 3, you see it in high school. Kid drops back and starts running around and making plays, right?
Yeah.
So I think that phase 2 part, like when you're working the pocket to buy time, and you're because the pocket's going to collapse in different ways. Sometimes the left guard gets bulled back, and you can't step into a throw, and you got a quick slide to your right to give yourself enough space to get rid of it. So when I saw Lamar work a pocket and hang in there and rip balls, I was like, "Oh, we're in trouble," because he's gonna beat us with his arm, and then he's gonna beat you with his legs. So I think that's the key for that type of quarterback is making sure that they do that. Because if it's a 1 to 3, now there's some highlights that they make with 1 to 3. That was my biggest thing with Eric is Dungy was trying to get him to get into the phase 2. He loved 1 to 3. Drop back. If 1 and 2 weren't there, my man was rolling and trying to truck people along the way. And I only had him at 18, but that's what we talked about a ton is like getting him to read 3 and 4, getting him to the backside before he took off running, because the backside dig would be wide open, but he's already running, because 1 and 2 weren't open. And so I think that's the key to those types of quarterbacks is when you see that, you got a great one, and if they're relying too much on their legs, then I don't think those guys last in college or pros, to be honest with you. It's just it's hard living. It's funny recruiting quarterbacks forever. Like so many quarterbacks put that play, one play, 1 or 2 on their highlight tape.
Yeah.
Sometimes both are like them dropping back, running left, running right, running left, running right, heaving a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown. And literally on my sheet, I'd be like, minus. Like, and you let your highlight tape off with a minus. I want to see you drop back in rhythm and rip a dig or rip a comeback. Like I throw the ball on time, step up in the pocket, north in the pocket, not sideways, north, and find a little alley in there and rip a dig. Or, like that, those are pluses. When you're running sideways and just faster than everybody, then that's a minus. But they think it's cool because it ended up being a touchdown. It was a good play, but that those kind of plays don't carry over as you move up in the world of football, but that is one thing Lamar does. And it's something that, Justin Fields has to work at, he has to hang in, but when you're getting hit, it's hard to hang in there in 2, phase 2, like you're trying to work that pocket and work north. And some of these dudes are hitting you while you're throwing it, and then next time you say, forget about phase 2, I'm out of here. You like, if 1's not there, 2's not there, I'm gone. And you're just, the offenses aren't as successful when you got a guy doing that.
Throwing planted, throwing as he leans back in the air like a fadeaway shot, throwing right-handed, throwing left-handed, throwing on the run. Is there a better quarterback that goes phase 1 to 2 to 3 than Pat Mahomes right now?
No, nobody. I mean, and I'm being super critical because these guys are unbelievable players, but Josh Allen is when he is in phase 2, 1, 2, 3, he's hard to stop. Sometimes he'll go 1 to 3 a little bit too much for me. Where he didn't get his eyes around to the last 2 spots, but when he does, no. I mean, Mahomes he's at a different level. He knows what's happening. He's setting protections. He's moving north in the pocket when he has to. And moving north in the pocket is a big deal for me. So many guys want to move sideways, and the DNs are fast enough now. Like nothing good comes out there. Every once in a while you get some type of defensive line twist game, and it'll open up left or right where you can easily get out of the pocket because they didn't run their twist right. But most pass rush games have edges. You're gonna have edges, and the holes are north, right? There's 4 of them coming. And there's 6 gaps, right? And I know 2 of the gaps are the outside gaps. Those are handled. So the open gaps are in front of you. It's just, it takes a certain amount of courage to step up in there and throw the ball because it's going to be tight windows, And so, but no, because he does everything. He only goes sideways when the pass rusher decides to up and under the tackle. Some pass rusher will come up the side and all of a sudden, think that they got the tackle leaning and they'll up and under him and boom, Mahomes is outside. that's the perfect time to go sideways. And so, and I think Jalen Hurts made a huge step this year in that. I mean, he goes through a progression now. I watched them play against us last year because I've watched all our games, and just watching him systematically boom, boom. And then, of course, they have some design runs for them, which is hard to stop. I mean, they add numbers that, you think you have enough in the box, and all of a sudden the running back's another lead blocker, and now they got everybody blocking, he comes popping out. So they do add but I do think the phase 2 stuff is so important, and it's something that now that's like guys like Mahomes are doing it and can scramble and can run and look left and throw right. I mean, you're gonna, it's a tough day when you're trying to stop a guy like that.
Yeah, because I think, when you talk about the legs guys that rely on that, jumping from 1 to 3 and thinking that they're fast enough that when they try to go out of the pocket, they could just roll out right or roll out left, and then having to roll backwards while they're still trying to hook that corner. And if they're in a tight corner, depending on where the ball's spotted, how much window do they have before they get to the sideline? And then they end up getting blown up on the sideline. So,
and those turn into picks. Like those throws, like they're feeling like I'm running full speed to the sideline getting chased, and I'm going to throw across my body and try to fit one in there. I would love to do the math on that. Like how many balls thrown outside the hash? What's the percentage of picks for balls that are thrown outside the numbers in the NFL compared to from in the pocket? I bet it's, 5% in the pocket and 20% outside the numbers. Like, I mean, the percentage of you throwing it to the wrong team when you're running full speed sideways, and there's a bunch of NFL athletes out there that windows are going to close super fast and then cover ground.
Yeah.
And you got to freaking put some RPMs on that ball to get it there in time. And you think you did, but all your momentum's going the other direction, So it's just, now, obviously there's that high school kid that just runs over there and heaves it, but it's a different game. It's a totally different game. So it's, I do think that's something that a lot of guys, even the good ones, are working on.
Yeah. And I think it was Caleb Williams, who, we think will be the number 1 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. I went down to Arlington to Cowboys Stadium and had wanted to go there since I was a little kid. Got to go down on the field, on the Star, FaceTime my dog, my dad. Got to do a little broadcast down there. And I was there for the Cotton Bowl for Tulane versus USC. And I want to thank the Cotton Bowl because they're incredible. Scotty Rodgers and the whole team down there are awesome. And watching Caleb Williams, there was one play, and this is when you're rolling out, but you talk about progression. So this one play is going to kind of play into everything we were talking about. So he's under center for USC, and Caleb Williams hikes the ball, and he looks, and he's taking some time, and then somebody starts coming, and this guy's coming, and you would think that another quarterback would take off a lot faster. This guy's full speed coming. Caleb takes a couple steps to the left, and he's still looking. And then he's like, all right, I got to go now. And he starts to come around all the way to the left, stops right before the sideline, turns his body, sets again like he's in the pocket, looks, and beams this ball down the left sideline and finds a guy for a huge gain. And you're thinking to yourself, how did this man stay so calm? Like he actually thought it was practice and they were going to slow down, that he's sitting in the pocket. He makes a couple reads. He shifts over a little bit. Then he takes off, but never does he look like he's out of whack. Never does he look like he's under duress. And so he takes off, and you're thinking, oh, he's scrambling to the sideline, stops, turns, looks, and sees that guy and is like, yep, that's my guy, sends the ball down the field. And I'm like, who is this man?
Yeah. Different. He's different. I mean, I've seen him in the work a pocket, and create space. And obviously we love it when you get the perfect coverage and the coach calls the perfect play and your option 1 or 2 is open and you get to be a phase 1 guy. It's awesome. It's so much fun. Where the courage is, I would love to know, we have all these monitors on these guys, and I spent a week with the Jets in December, just hanging out with Mike LaFleur. He was the offensive coordinator there at the time last year, and I was with the Rams, but I spent a week there, and I was talking to their sports medicine guy, and I was like, I would love to put like heart rate monitors on these quarterbacks so we could measure their panic level, because the good ones, like the Mahomes of the world or the Caleb, like they don't even look panicked. The dude's running at them, trying to knock them out, and they literally sidestep to the left. They know how much time they have. They know they're going to get hit. They're not bothered by that.
They just look calm.
They need space. We always say quarterback-wise, space is opportunity. So sliding away from it, buys you another half second. And if you can get through the ball and get your shoulder turned, hits don't matter as much. It's when if they get there before you get your arm through, you're in trouble. But if you can just get it out of your hand and protect yourself a little bit, they don't hurt as much, And like guys that have the ability to stay calm during phase 2 of a play, where you're probably on read 3 and 4 and 5, or you're trying to find your check down, or you're working the backside of a progression. It's amazing because defenses are trying to take 1 and 2 away from you and see if you're good enough to get to 3, 4, 5, right? Yeah. And if you are, they're in trouble. But like the underneath coverage is flying with your eyes as you're looking for 1 and 2. And then all of a sudden, when you come back and you're working the backside of a, those guys are normally wide open. It's just, do you have the courage and the calmness to get through a progression, knowing that a lot of times in phase 2, when you're throwing the ball, you're going to get hit. That's why a lot of the phase 2 good ones are like Roethlisberger-sized dudes. They can take hits because they're just as big as the D linemen that are hitting them, because they're in there in a tight pocket and they're going to 3 and 4 and 5. And so it's a very interesting study of, and that's the biggest, everyone's given, what's the guy with Carolina, because he's little, the new guy.
Bryce Young.
Young, Bryce. And, he's calm and he works the pocket well, and he's kind of nifty in the pocket, which is unique. A little bit like Flutie was really good at working a pocket north and south, even though he's little. He'd get outside at times, don't get me wrong, but he would work north, and he was kind of crafty in a pocket. And so is Bryce. But can he take the hits that come with hitting your 3rd and 4th and 5th receiver? Because the good defense ain't going to give you 1 and 2. They're going to make you see if you can get to 3, 4, 5. Or you're just going to stick on 1 and 2 too long, and then you're going to turn the ball over a lot. And that's what has happened with a lot of the quarterbacks that hesitate. They don't have great feet. And so we actually, with my quarterbacks, I give them a phase score every practice of how many, and it's amazing when I give them their numbers. I'm like, hey, we'll pick easy numbers. I'll be like, hey, you were 10 of 20 today throwing the ball overall, and so I give them their total numbers for practice, and then I give them their phase numbers, meaning, okay, you threw the ball in phase 12 times on time, perfectly on time. And you were 10 of 12 when you did that. So can you imagine if you were in phase all the time? Like you were 50% on the day, but you only 12 of the 20 times you threw the ball perfectly on time. Your feet were good, hitched one throw, didn't waste any time, and you completed 90% of your balls. So do you want to be a 50%? And it was amazing how quickly you could get them to believe in phase. Because every time they're in phase, I give them a plus for being in phase, and then a completion or incomplete, Yeah. And I remember going to, when I went to Purdue, I had David Blah, who's now been a backup in the NFL for, I don't know how many years now, 6 years, maybe 5 years. And he's another Kirk Cousins guy. Like, his feet are great. And when I got there, he wasn't a big proponent of it, but by the end of spring ball, he started seeing his numbers when he was on time and when he wasn't on time. And you show it to them. And most quarterbacks are type A's. They got straight A's. They're competitive as hell. So you start posting it every day in the meeting, in the room, like, hey, this is what everybody did today. And here's what your percentage would have been when you were on time. Here, look how good you were, and watching him accept it, and then the fall, he led the Big Ten in passing that year. And he's just continued it at the next level, and that's another hard jump for these rookies is, they still want to be in phase, but now the whole game happened faster. So everything changes. Like, everything has to be faster. Same footwork, but everything, you better be faster because the guys are faster, the line's faster. And so they're making those adjustments. Guys like Trevor Lawrence, they're still making those adjustments to the speed of the game so they can get back into being rhythm and being comfortable and hanging in the pocket. But the thing about Trevor Lawrence is he's got the size to be in a phase 2 and get hit and get up. So yeah, it's that part of any quarterback. And if they can run, it's a bonus. But if you can't stay calm and be in phase 2, then I don't think you're gonna have a hard time making that jump. And that was one thing when I did my report on Sam Darnold. He was only a sophomore at the time, I believe. We opened up my first game as a head coach at Western Michigan was in the Coliseum. And man, when he got out of the pocket, he was good, man. Phase 3 dude, he was special. He could make throws running sideways, flick it across his body 70 yards and hit a guy in stride. I mean, it was pretty. And that was the biggest thing when I went to our D coordinator. I said, keep this dude in the pocket. He's good at phase 1. He's average, maybe below average a little bit in phase 2 as young as he is. But phase 3, he's a dude. So just keep this dude in the pocket. Like, tell your DNs, do not rush past him. Like, bull rush, just bring the pocket on him. He got out one time and scored. He threw 2 picks. I mean, they beat us. We hung in the game. It was a 7-point game with like 7 minutes left, because we just kept him in there, because that wasn't where he could be an elite player. Now, he's a sophomore, right? And he played 2 more years and got good at everything. But yeah, that's kind of when you look at quarterbacks and how to defend them. I think that's a big piece of, any quarterback that's comfortable against you, you're in trouble. And getting them to have to do a part of the game that they're not comfortable with, the more you can do that, the better your chances are of winning the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up so many great points, and it's funny you talk about quarterbacks that are set to take those blows, the very unique ones, and Ben Roethlisberger built like a linebacker. I would imagine that if you hit John Elway, it probably hurt. And so, but you think about like you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, and I'd love for you to grade him out. And I just hope Green Bay is not playing Jacksonville. But
we're not. I already looked at that because I was hoping to see him.
But to see his phase 2, because he doesn't take on, he can run, and he has shown that he can get a first down, and he can obviously get into the end zone, and he's a good quarter. I mean, I remember one of the games that we had, I think we had 4 comebacks at home this season that I was on site to see. It was like, oh, the Ravens was the best game. No, it's actually the Cowboys was the best game. And then the comeback against the Titans was the best. And then the Chargers game was the best. So I saw arguably the best 4 games I've seen in the history of my coverage of Jacksonville, for this being now my 13th year. Arguably in 12 years, I saw 4 of my top 10, 4 of my top 5 ever this past season. And one of them was when Trevor had come down, and my end zone is, if you're looking at the field, the right side. So I'm there in the press box. And it was one of the coolest plays to see in real time, because as long as he waited for the right time. So they hiked the ball, he quarterback sneaked it, and you see him do this. Like that. That's all he did. He put the ball over the line, and then he pulled it back before they could hit it out. And you just literally saw everybody converge, and then you saw
the ball. Yep.
And in real time, it was awesome. But watching him play, and as you're breaking it down, phase 1, 2, and 3, I'm thinking to myself, you really don't see him phase 1, 3. Granted, the line's gotten better for him past season, but you don't see him 1, 3. When he takes off and runs, it always leaves me going, oh crap, he can run. So
and people say the same thing about like Steve Young. Then you watch highlights of him running around, or even a guy like one of the greatest scramblers. I used to show, when was it? I think I was at Purdue. There's a scramble highlight reel of Tony Romo doing like whacked out stuff to stay alive in the pocket. He and then he'd run around. Like, he wasn't a terrible athlete, but most of the, and you don't even see. I mean, Mahomes never goes on a 30, 40-yard run. I mean, he just goes and gets what he needs and gets down.
He knows I need 15, so he gets maybe 16.
Yeah, he's not going. He ain't going yard. He ain't going to the paint. And if it's a whole sideline open, I'm not saying he wouldn't try to go to the paint. I'm just saying he's working the pocket. He's keeping the play alive. He's buying himself. space and time, and you can only cover so long. And if it's a whole sideline open, I'm not saying he wouldn't try to go to the paint. I'm just saying he's working the pocket. He's keeping the play alive. He's buying himself space and time, and you can only cover so long.
Right.
And so, the linemen know that if they get beat, if they can just stay on, Velcro on the guy, they know that he'll have the ability to slide to the left, step up, buy another 1 second, which is a lot of time, and all of a sudden all these routes, like the curls become curl and goes because there's like scramble rules on top of every play. And so when you talk about Trevor, I haven't studied him in college. I spent a week down in Clemson. Oh, what year was that? I forget. I got invited down there. Dabo invited me, and I spent a week there. Trevor was a sophomore. And so I spent a week watching him and then sat in the quarterback room and got to be around him a little bit. And it was just unbelievable. Like, the thing about that was unique about him is I was super impressed with his release, like how fast it was. Like most longer guys don't have quick releases. And I don't want to say they're slow. Like Josh Allen does not have a slow release, but it's not lightning like Trevor. Trevor was a huge mountain of a man with a lightning release. That sucker was out. But the Roethlisbergers, even Brady, they didn't have super quick releases. And I thought that combination was pretty cool. And that he just has the want to. Like that guy, I was just some random coach from the Mid-American Conference, and I saw him in the hallway the next day, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And we went and sat like on the little areas, like an open area on the second floor of their building. He's like, "Coach, I looked you up." He's like, "You were a 4-year starter," and I was like, "Yeah, I was." And he's like, "What things did you do your sophomore year, your second year? That helped you?" I'm just like, why is this guy asking? Because he just wants to learn, right? Yeah. It was like one of the most impressive things. Like, you went home and figured, hey, this guy's going to be here this week. I'm going to Google him, learn about his quarterback career, and see if there's anything I can get from him to get better, even though I'm the best quarterback in the country, But those are the unique traits of a guy. So I'm a fan, obviously. And yeah, he always did a great job of hanging in. And so when he did run, instead of being 3-yard gains, they were 10-yard gains. And because the defense they had to cover for at least 3 seconds, 3.5, 4. It wasn't just like you start dropping and the dude's already in scramble mode. You put your foot in the ground and it's a 1-yard gain. His scrambles meant something, and so, yeah, and you had to cover all 5 because he was going to get to all 5, all 5 eligibles.
And what I love is, and you talk about, how he is as a person. So, I covered him at Clemson, and now, being at Jacksonville, I'm at the home games. I have the opportunity to go to the road games. I potentially can go to the London games. And so this being his 3rd season with Jacksonville, I've been down there, been in the locker room. Now he always goes to the podium. So I'm typically in the locker room when he's at the podium because I want to get one-on-ones because how important it is for me to build relationships and not just get sound bites. So I'm in the locker room. So normally when he comes in the locker room, he's already done. And I went over to him for the Chargers. I think it was a Chargers win. It was the last time I was in the stadium this past season because they went on the road to Kansas City. So I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Trev, congrats on the win." He's like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate it." The thank you, and I can tell you for being around the NFL for over a decade, when somebody says even acknowledges it, like that, it's a different dude because normally it's like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, "Thanks, man. Appreciate it." So I go to walk out. I'm the last person walking out of the locker room, the media. Finished up my last interview, and I think I was talking to Jamal Agnew. I'm walking out, and I see Dave, who's incredible on the staff at Jacksonville. Dave's walking in, laughing and joking with Trevor. And you also see how Trevor is by how he treats the staff. So he's laughing and joking with Trevor. And my uncle, my Papa Joe, who's with me every Thursday on the show from 10 to 11, he's like an encyclopedia. He's awesome. He's another dad to me. He always texts me every day and he puts, "What's up?" And he loves the Jaguars. So this is a little God moment for us. I'm coming out, last person out of the locker room. Trevor and Dave come through the door, and Trevor's walking and laughing with Dave. And I don't even think I'd already congratulated him, so I didn't think he was going to say anything. He looks right at me and he goes, "What's up?" and I called out PJ. I was like, "Guess who what's up me?" But But I mean, that's just like, I mean, he was just having fun. And I said, and I've said this many times, and I'll say it again every day. I'll say it today. We need to keep Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville for as many number of years as are on his jersey. I want him his whole career, 16, whatever he can give me. But yeah, he's a different dude, and definitely great. Before I let you go, though, I did want to get to a couple things here. Quarterback-wise, when you talk about elite quarterbacks, because you're in Green Bay now, Aaron Rodgers is in the same shade of forest green, but he's on a different team, psychedelically enjoying his time in New York City. And so, but here's the funny part. They want to honor the Jets and say, you're Super Bowl champions. And just looking strictly at the AFC, I'm going to name who I consider the best quarterbacks in the league, but we're just going to talk AFC for a second. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is a Jet, but here's my list, and I'm going to go from division to division. So in the AFC East, besides Aaron Rodgers and Tua not staying as healthy, so you have Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. You have, and so in the AFC East. Then you go to the North. You have Josh Allen on the AFC side. You have Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. You have Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals. You have Trevor Lawrence, who we just talked about, with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have Pat Mahomes with Kansas City, and you have Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Yet Aaron Rodgers got a really easy road, they say. And then you look in the NFC. And, you look on your side of things where Green Bay is on the NFC side of it. And we talked about Jalen Hurts with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then, we talked about Kirk Cousins, who's better than average. I mean, he's not in the same world, but he's the guy who's going to win you a bunch of games. And then from there, it's not as crazy because you look at Kyler Murray, but what's going to happen there and whatnot. So in the NFC, it looks like if he had stayed with Green Bay, he had to beat, of the NFC in total, 16 teams, he had 3 or 4 guys to go through. And the AFC side, you got half the dang league.
Yeah, it is like a dream team of quarterbacks.
And when you name elites, all of them but 2 are in the AFC.
Yeah. I mean, it's right now. It is a very interesting time quarterback-wise because there's so many. You have some teams like a guy like Kirk Cousins who's played forever, Goff's played forever. And then you have Prescott who's played for a long time, and then you have the teams that are trying to figure it out with young guys, the Kyler Murrays of the world. We actually we have Fields and Jordan Love, so it's very interesting because of the difference in experience. The guys you just named on the other side they've done it for years. I mean, years and years and years, and been at an elite level. And so there's going to be some AFC quarterback battles this year that are going to be epic. And watching. I mean, I love that's my favorite part of when you get the playoffs and you have two studs going, and they're both playing at the top of their game at the time. And I enjoyed watching. I know it was an epic game, but Herbert, I think he has a chance to be. Once again, he's a young guy, so I'm not a quick judge person like a lot of people are, But him and Trevor Lawrence in that game was. I mean, you could see that for the next 10 years. It could be an epic battle. It was like when Brady, always had to go to Indy, and go through Peyton Manning. And it was like, you couldn't ask for anything better than those two, and I think back when Aikman would play against Young or Montana, it was you're going to have some of those epic battles, whereas on our side, there's just a lot of question marks, a lot of new, we have some standard old steady Eddie, Kirk Cousins, you know what you're going to get. But as far as the guys that might be doing some wild, crazy play, come back and forth, and watching, that's the one. That's the one. I think about the game. Was it the 13-second game? With Mahomes and Josh Allen. I mean, those two made plays that game that were like NFL film.
That's why they changed the overtime rules in the postseason was because Josh Allen should have gotten the ball back.
Yes.
That game went on for another hour.
It was such an awesome game. If you like, I mean, they were making unbelievable throws in unbelievable situations with the pressure on them, and there's just, I mean, it's a loaded division right now with the proven superstars, you know, and there'll be superstars that emerge on both sides, and some of these young guys are going to emerge as superstars. I feel like once you've done it, once you're into year 3, 4, 5, that's really when you can hit your stride for the next 6 years, and so many of those guys are in that groove on the one side, and so yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. When we play, for us, we get to play Mahomes. I can't wait to see Sky Moore, you know, who I recruited and coached here. It'll be fun to see him pregame. I don't know if I want to see Mahomes as the guy that helps the defense, you know, but it'll be fun to watch, just to see him live.
And you're seeing Sky as a Super Bowl champion now.
Yes, I can't wait to tackle him before the game. It'll be fun to see him, and we play the Chargers, so we see Herbert, which will be fun. So we have a couple crossover games, you know. So it'll be a challenge, but yes, it is. I could not agree with you more when it comes to the roster. If you did an all-star game of quarterbacks and you had, you know, like, it would not be one of those. It would not be a fair fight, I don't think, with both divisions right now. But that changes yearly, you know. So, but this is going to be a fun year in the AFC for watching guys that are pretty special.
Well, you know, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, before we wrap up, it's Tim Lester, senior analyst for the Green Bay Packers. You know, looking at what Aaron Rodgers has to go through, he starts off the season on September 11th, Remembrance Monday Night Football against Josh Allen, and then he'll have to go on the road to play Dak Prescott, and then he has Mac Jones, and then we'll see. So I'm going to name off the ones that I think are like, okay. So he has Josh Allen, then Dak Prescott. I didn't name him before because it depends on what Dak we see. Sure. Kansas City, they got Pat Mahomes. We'll see what Russell Wilson looks like this year on the road on October 8th for Aaron Rodgers. Then he has to play Jalen Hurts. Then 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, he's got to play Justin Herbert. Then he's got to play Josh Allen 2 weeks after that. Then we'll see if Tua is still playing at the time, but he has to play Tua in week 12 and week 15. And after that, he's got an easier road. But, I mean, maybe it's the psychedelics that make him think this is going to be an easy road. But you know, I mean, when we look at – I want to look at Green Bay since you're in Green Bay. But before we look at Green Bay's schedule, which you alluded to here, we were talking about how you're spending a lot of time really digging in to – I mean, you're looking at all your matchups, but you're digging into the NFC North where you have these, you know, big time – you have 2 games against the Vikings, 2 against the Lions, 2 against the Bears. And, you know, how you do in your division is going to, you know, if you do what you need to do, you're going to be in the playoffs no matter what. So let's take a look at the Detroit Lions and their powder blue new helmets, their throwback helmets. Jared Goff has emerged. I thought that they were going to be in the quarterback sweepstakes, and he's proven me wrong. Jahmyr Gibbs, who's one of my guys that I covered in college, who went off to Alabama. Jahmyr Gibbs has been drafted by them, which I believe I had them picking him. David Montgomery's there from Chicago. And then Jamison Williams, if he can stay healthy and out of trouble, which seem like 2 very difficult things to do for him right now. And then we look at Marvin Jones Jr., who broke my heart because he was a Jaguar last year. So, you know, in the defensive senior analyst, offensive coordinator for the other team, prepping Green Bay, when you look at Detroit, what do you see?
I think they're really good. I mean, I think the one thing about them that I think stands out, having watched the film, is the NFL, like, putting together an elite offensive line is hard. You know, I think there's about 3 of them. And I think that maybe 4. I mean, when you watch the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line play and you watch the Detroit Lions offensive line play, or the 49ers, maybe even the Chiefs would probably be the next, but those top 3, I mean, they are different. Yeah. And then there's a bunch of teams that have good offensive lines. And then there's a small batch that have bad offensive lines, you know. But, man, that group up front is different. And that you talk about making your quarterback job way easier. They're different than teams because those big boys up front, like they can run, they can move, they can run the ball. They have a great scheme. I think their coaches do a hell of a job. And keeping their offensive coordinator was a huge move in the offseason because I think he does a great job. But that's really when you watch those big boys up front and the holes that they open up for these running backs, which then opens up the play pass for Goff and the receivers. They are a formidable group because you just don't see that much. You don't see a dominant. There aren't a ton of dominant offensive lines in the NFL, and one is in our division. So that's going to be a battle. Because of those guys, because they can run the ball to win a game, and there have been a lot of them. Nowadays it's a passing league, and so I think that part, and it makes all those skill players and all those running backs and golf, it makes them all better. Because they can buy an extra second back in the pocket and they can use play pass totally differently because they're running the ball so effectively. I thought David Montgomery was one of the better players watching him play for the Bears last year. He had some runs that were super impressive. And so him getting traded within the division was not great for us to still have to go against them behind the Lions offensive line. But I do. I know a lot of people are talking about him and deservedly so. And I think that's the key for them. Obviously, their defense has done a great job. Aiden Hutchins has been great. They bring a lot of pressure, and so they're gonna make it hard on our offense. But I do, watching them, that's the part that sticks out to me is like, wow, like you're watching Goff throw the ball and no one's near him. Yeah. He's in phase 2 and he's still not getting hit. You're like, whoa, look how now he can throw it. They all can throw it. You give him space. I think that group up front is different and special, and that makes it that's hard to overcome that, and it makes everyone around it better.
So from a quarterback to the quarterbacks, senior analyst with the Green Bay Packers, Tim Lester, this is who you're going up against quarterback-wise this year. Week 1 at Justin Fields. Week 2 at my guy Desmond Ridder with the Atlanta Falcons, who was the second guy drafted in last year's draft. And I told y'all not to sleep on my Cincinnati Bearcats, but a lot of you did. But now Desmond Ridder will be there. I'm excited about that. You got Derek Carr at home in the first game in Lambeau coming up. That's in week 3 of this upcoming season. Derek Carr now a New Orleans Saint. Then you have Jared Goff at home. Then on the road, Jimmy Garoppolo when you go to Vegas. Then you're at Russell Wilson and the Broncos. And then we'll see Kirk Cousins at home. We'll see this is interesting here because the Los Angeles Rams are a team who you thought you knew like who everybody would be, but I also thought that Baker Mayfield had done enough to stick around and push Matt Stafford. They didn't let that happen. So you'll have Matty Stafford at home on November 5th, and then you'll be at the Pittsburgh Steelers, which means that you'll be in the Kenny Pickett world. Then you'll have Los Angeles at home for the Chargers, Justin Herbert. Then you'll be at Detroit for Jared Goff. Then you're at home against Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. Then you're at the Giants for Daniel Jones. Then in Tampa Bay, I think it should be Kyle Trask. That's just my belief. Then at Carolina, Bryce Young probably at that point. And then at Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. And then you finish off the season like you start it. You bookend it with Chicago, and that'll be at home against Justin Fields. So you got some guys riding the equator, and then you got some party animals on this thing too.
Yeah, we have a group of it's like I don't want to put them all in one big basket, but you take Mahomes, obviously he's the guy, right? And then there's a bunch of guys that are, you got the guys in the league that and then you have like Ridder and who knows in Tampa Bay, and everyone knows what's going on in Carolina, but he'll be a rookie.
Right.
Ritter's only in his second year. You got a great quarterback at New Orleans, but he's with a new system and a new, we got him early in the year.
You got Russell Wilson is a question mark.
And who knows? So we have, it's just like we talked about. Like on the one side, there's a lot of like, we'll see, what kind of year he has, and then the other side, it's like boom. When we play the AFC teams, you're like, oh, here we go. Here comes Mahomes, and here comes, here they come. And the rest are, we'll see. That's the fun part about, the NFL is like every line, every game comes on to the last second, the last drive of the game. And especially this year in the NFC, you're probably going to see more and more of that, close games and which teams can be efficient. And when you say which teams can be efficient and not lose games, because rookie quarterbacks have a tendency when they have rough games of turning it over and losing games instead of just not losing games, you either can help the team win, but then help them not lose.
Yeah.
And so, a guy like Kirk Cousins, he goes up the chart really fast when you're looking at that group of names. You'd be like, wow, like this guy's not going to make mistakes. He's going to put us in good position all the time, And that's where I just think that the value of a guy like that, and especially in the NFC, is special. So I like Daniel Jones too. It's just what's he going to be like? Is he going to continue his little bit of an uptick last year? And so there's just a lot of question marks. And there's not nearly as many on the other side. There's a lot of like when you play Lamar Jackson, like strap it up. Like you're going to be ready. And Josh Allen and Herbert and Lawrence and Mahomes and Rodgers too. I mean, it's a heck of a run.
So last two questions, Green Bay, heavily related here. Once again, quarterback to quarterback. Jordan Love has been in the league for, a little bit of time, and not long. And 2021 played in 6 games, 36 completions, 62 passes, 58.1%, 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. Last season, he played in 4 games. He was 14 of 21, 66.7% completion percentage, 195 yards total passing, 1 touchdown, no picks. Wasn't sacked at all. So I used to feel bad for Aaron Rodgers because Brett Favre was a diva and Brett Favre was like General Hospital. He just never was off the show. You thought he died, but he was never off the show. And then Aaron Rodgers did to Jordan Love his best impression of Brett Favre, and then went to the same team that Brett Favre had gone to with the Jets. So now I don't feel bad for Aaron Rodgers anymore, but here's a 2-part question. As a quarterback to a quarterback, give me your analysis of Jordan Love first. And then secondly, being in Green Bay and in Lambeau, how is the world post Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I think, I wasn't here when Aaron was here, obviously, but I'm a huge fan of him as a quarterback. People are excited. They've had the same 2 quarterbacks for 30 years, something like that. So it's exciting time. To have a guy that has some experience, that's played a little bit, that's has some of the scars, that you need to have early on in your career to have a good career. He's been impressive to me. We've only done OTAs, which is glorified. What is Coach Campbell at Lions? He calls them pajama parties because you can't hit, you can't go again, you can't really go against each other for the last 2 weeks. So I didn't help with the defense out, but he's done a good job. The players love him. He's super calm, which I love. He's got that same thing that all the good ones have. I think from what I've been told, the relationship with him and Aaron was good, and so I'm sure he's learned a ton. I'm a big believer in there are no shortcuts in life. Your best shortcut is to find someone that knows what they're doing or what you want to do and learn from them.
Yeah.
And you could go down the list. I bet if you ask Patrick Mahomes his first year with Alex Smith, a veteran quarterback that led the team to the playoffs as he got to be the backup, what that meant for what that meant for Pat Holmes' first, second, and third year. How much did you learn during that year having a guy in front of you that's done it? I think that's invaluable. And so So we're very fortunate that he has probably way more experience and knowledge than by having watched and been in the same room with Aaron for 3 years, I believe. I think we're going in year 4 for him. So I'm excited. I think everyone's excited. You know, he's done a good job. He's gotten, like, from beginning to end, he got more and more comfortable. You know, so it's been fun to watch those guys. I know they're super young over there. You know, like, I love watching our young wideouts and tight ends run around, and but they're all first or second year players. You know, and then you got Aaron Jones, and back there you got veteran offensive linemen, you got veteran running backs, and then when it comes to the quarterback and skill positions, we're super young. You know, Christian Watson really came on late last year, and it was fun to watch some of the stuff he's done. He looks great, and Romeo Dobbs, and then the young kids we brought in. So super young and talented, and they all are working hard, and like from beginning to end, you know, the little I got to look across and watch him, you know, it was just better every single day, better, and nothing affected him, nothing bothered him. You know, the other thing about practice with no pads on is there's no running game. You know, there's no pads on, so you can try to run the ball, but you can't hit. You know, so there's no push on the offensive line, and there's no dent in the line of scrimmage, and so I do think, you know, having, you know, AJ Dillon and, you know, Aaron Jones back there with him will be a very healthy thing. You know, for him to have a veteran O-line and veteran running backs, and let the young guys continue to develop, much like Christian Watson did late last year. So. And when that's the case, like when you're a team that is young and needs to develop, that's fun. It's fun to be around. Like they're hungry, you know, and defensively we have a ton of experience. You know, we got veteran linebackers and veteran corners and some veteran D linemen, safeties. So we're a little bit different on one side than the other side. You know, and but yeah, it's been fun to watch them. And no one's got to see like a full. You know, like a full meal. Like you've seen pieces, you know, and I know people were very impressed with how he did when he went in the Philly game last year. Looking at his numbers, he stayed calm. He goes through progressions. He hangs in the pocket. He did all the things, but he's going to have a chance to take it and run with it, you know, and all the players are excited about it. And so it makes it a fun building to be in right now. You know, a lot of excitement about what the future holds, a lot of unknowns because he hasn't had a ton of snaps, you know, but, and you know, I think it's going to be exciting to be a part of it.
I'll let the record show that I said that Christian Watson was exactly what they needed when they went for the draft out of North Dakota, and talking about, I mean, 6'5", and Aaron Rodgers allegedly was asking, you know, for go get me a wide receiver, go get me a wide receiver. Yeah. And when they brought in Christian Watson, I had him circled on my list of one of those rookies that's going to end up being the number one guy and step himself up. So kudos to him for that. To put them next to each other, Aaron Rodgers 6'2", 225, Jordan Love 6'4", 219 is what he's down as, but a couple inches taller Jordan Love is. And the whole issue that came up a few years ago was that they traded up 4 picks to go get him in the 2020 NFL draft. And obviously Aaron Rodgers was still there doing his thing, but you know, they did that with Brett Favre. They went and got Aaron Rodgers, same thing, and you know, had him. It said, hey, we like this guy. We're going to bring him in. We're going to let him sit and learn from a Super Bowl champion and see what we can do. So he is a first-round pick, Jordan Love, a number 26 overall in the 2020 draft. So he was there in 2020, didn't get out there. 2021, 2022, like we talked about, you know, played minimally. And as you had alluded to, we haven't seen a quarterback not named Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers outside of injury or splitting time since 1992.
1992. So that's crazy. Think how many teams would love to say that.
I was 6. Right? So, and I'm 37 right now. So Brett Favre and Don Miskowski back in 1992 split games. Favre had 13 games that season, and Don had 3. And then it was Brett Favre all the way through 2007. 2008, it was Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron Rodgers, Matt Flynn in 2010, 2010-11. He split some time with Matt Flynn. So since 1992 until 2022-23, we have heard the names outside of guys filling in, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for 3 decades.
That's crazy, right?
31 years of my life.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm a Bears fan. I grew up in Chicago, and we've been searching for one for about that same amount of time.
Yeah,
and so it's amazing what they've done, and they had a plan, and now I think that's what I think the fans are excited about. They should be. We're excited about it. I get really nervous when a rookie has to play. That's the biggest thing, is because that's you hopefully they can learn to manage games early on, but if they're out there trying to make plays, they're only going to get themselves, and then they're going to lose confidence, and everything spirals downhill. And so, the fact that he's been in the league for 3 years, going in year 4, he's tasted games and played, and I know that the offensive coaches that I've talked to, they've been all excited about his development. Right. The year 1, not a rookie. Yeah, year 2 had to play a little bit, still wasn't really ready. Last year, I think they kind of felt like he was, huge jump, the uptick that you're looking for. There's no uptick like playing, right? Yeah. You uptick faster when you play, and so having the chance when he did go in limited, role last year, played really well. So talking to the coaches, they were pretty excited about his development, but now he's going to have a chance, right? I mean, what you want to have, and he's got it, and the players believe in him, and he has some weapons around him. They're young, and he's got some guys in front of him that have played. I mean, I watched our offensive line enough to say, it's a pretty solid group up there, and some veterans there, So yeah, I mean, like many of the NFC teams, it's kind of, it's a lot of question marks, and that's exciting, because he hasn't proved that he can't do it, and actually in practice, he's been doing a really good job. So it's going to be a fun year, man. Every game's going to be, hold on, because it's going to be a battle, and we'll probably know, first 1/3 of the season, kind of, how he's settling in, and are we protecting him, and how the young guys developing, how the young wide receivers developing, and hopefully defensively we can play to our best and keep guys low, and and let the offense develop as they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at a city and a team and a fan base that have been spoiled for 3 decades. And so they're going to have something called patience. And we'll see with Jordan Love, but he's had 3 years to learn under a Super Bowl champion and one of the best quarterbacks talent-wise to ever play the game in the NFL. So with that being said, I want to thank senior analyst for the Green Bay Packers, Tim Lester. And I want to ask you, and this is a little bit different now, since my other mom, Miss Mary, is a big old Green Bay fan, when am I getting my Green Bay care package is what I want to know.
Well, I'm getting there. I just got my first, where we're moving buildings right now. We have a new building opening up on July 13th, I believe.
Okay.
So everything is being, when I got there, I mean, it was funny my first 3 months working there, because I didn't even unpack anything, because we were going to pack up. And so the equipment, everything's moving. So it's been quite an interesting couple months, and they're supposedly opening the doors here, and I think in about 3 weeks. So when I go back there on July 20th, everything should be moved into the new building, and I will make sure I get down there. As soon as I get some of your gear, I'll send you some Packers gear. That's the deal.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I already have a plan in place of you rocking some wake up call gear in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I love it. I will. I promise you.
And in Michigan as well. So with that being said, Tim Lester, as always, brother, can't thank you enough of being a man of your word that when you left Syracuse, I said, I never want to lose touch with you, friendship-wise and respect-wise, professionally. I always wanted to keep those doors open and that bridge open, and you can only be 50% of it. So I definitely stood on that bridge, and I've never stood without you. So I want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been fun, man. It's not over. It's just the beginning. We'll continue to get better together.
Absolutely, as always. Tim Lester. Appreciate it.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I hope you're having yourselves a wonderful morning this morning. It's always good to be here with you on Wake Up Call, where sports meets life. And I want to give a very huge thank you, as always, to Tim Lester for joining me on the show. And not just joining me on the show, but for, everything that I said before the break. The fact that he is a man of his word. He said to me that we would continue to stay in touch after he left Syracuse, and we've done that. We've done that all the way through, and for many, many years now. And I'm very privileged and I'm very honored to have him in my life. And, our conversation that we just had here today, that's only the beginning. And everything that he's worked on and I've worked on, as he said, this is only the beginning. So we're just getting started. And, what did Floyd Little say? We got miles to go before we sleep, and promises to keep, from one of his favorite poems. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our ingredients to success. And I have some really special news, which I'm really excited to bring to you. So I have some really cool news today, and I feel very honored to give it. And that news that I have this morning inside of the ingredients to success, we talk about positivity and good vibes and positive vibes and doing good things in the community and helping each other out and all of that. And I'm all about all of those things. I'm all about building up Central and Upstate New York and beyond the state of New York, Florida, which is our second hub of my company, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. There's so many things that we get to do. And, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and around the globe, we've had the opportunity to reach people. And it's been a beautiful thing, and it's been very fruitful and very wonderful. And I feel very privileged and honored to have all of the connections that we have. And with the ingredients to success, and we talk about, the topic today, building up the community, being a community, I got some big news today. But I can't tell you right now. I can tell you in an hour. I can tell you at lunch break. Coming up today at noon Eastern Time on all of our social media channels, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. I'm also going to put it on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. We have multiple videos airing today that will be welcoming in Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media as a whole's newest partner. I have the blessing, the privilege, and the opportunity to announce today our newest partner at noon Eastern Time. So today, June 27th at noon Eastern Time, I'm going to tell you that they're right by Lincourt Bakery, best bakery in the world. I'm going to tell you that they connect to my history of something that I've always collected and something that's meant a lot to me. Brendan Murphy, who does DT and Murphy with me every Monday on Wake Up Call, is going to be very excited. Is very excited because he found out ahead of time. And that it's led by two very passionate people that have been so inspirational to meet and be around. And a team of people that are excited and are bringing something to Central and Upstate New York that I haven't had since I was a little kid. So we have a huge news partnership unveiling today at noon Eastern time. And it's going to be on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And it'll also be on youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT. So that's part of the ingredients to success because it has to do with building up the community, right? We're adding another partner to our fantastic group of partners that you're going to see in just a couple minutes and that you've heard throughout the show. To me, and what did Greg say? That's called a tease in the business. Yes, sir. It is called a tease in the business. So I can let you know in an hour. I can let you know in an hour and 5 minutes. So, but I'm very, very excited. I met with them yesterday, and I'm very much looking forward to the newest partner that we're going to bring to you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And then later on in the week, I have another breaking news story. So, you thought last week when I announced the apparel and all the gear and merchandise that we have for my company that, okay, Dan brought big news. That's great news. That's awesome news. I can go get a hat. I can show him supporting. I can buy Christmas gifts. I can buy birthday gifts. I can get his quote, "God bless, no stress, do your best," on the back of the shirt. He supported the community. We could support him. This is great news. Well, I appreciate that. But we got news coming up today on top of that news. And then later on this week, we have news on top of the news. On top of the news. So I'm so looking forward to what I get to tell you in an hour. And I believe that those gentlemen may be listening right now. So I can't tell you what it is yet, but I can shout out Josh and Anthony and your entire team. Because you are all the reason why I wanted to work with you. What you do and how you do it and what you brought to the community and how you made me feel from the first time I came in and our conversations thereafter is why I want to work with you. And it's why I feel privileged to be doing so. And in an hour, I get to announce it. Now I know people like Greg are going to be looking up Syracuse businesses owned by Josh and Anthony. So it's coming up in an hour. I'm very excited, but it's part of the ingredients to success. And the ingredients to success are proudly presented by Avicolli's. Why is it a part of the ingredients to success? Well, the topic today is community. And what do we have to do as a community? Well, there's a lot of things that we can do. First and foremost, we need to stop competing with each other. We need to start loving up each other. I only compete with myself. I think it's funny. Not a lot of people ask me, what do you think about this broadcaster and that? But every once in a while people do. It's usually to stir up trouble. And my response is, I don't know. I don't listen to their show. I'm working. See, I didn't want to go to places to find information. I wanted to be the information. I wanted to be the place that people came to in the morning. Now, yeah, I find stuff and, you talk about this, you talk about that. Something comes up like with the PGA and the LIV and, you do your research. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying being a place, being a source, being a hub for people to learn, to talk, to grow, to share their ideas, to laugh. And that's what we are here on Wake Up Call and on Superpowered Pop and Do Diz with Dan and Comic Book Trails and Two Mics No Filter. That's what Dan Tortora Broadcast Media is. It's about bringing people together. It's about the community. So the ingredients to success for being a community is, number one, focus on you. Don't focus on, I got to beat my competitor. Focus on how you're going to be the best you. I have not gotten anywhere in my life trying to beat somebody else. Except for wanting to do better than what I did the day before. That's how I've won. That's how I continue to win. Because I look at Dan Tortora yesterday and I'm like, all right, where did I go wrong? Where did I go right? Not even where did I go wrong, but where can I learn? Where can I grow? Where can I blossom? Where can I evolve? And then let's get better from there. Let's improve from that. Let's take all the things that went right and let's build on those things. Let's take the things that didn't go right or didn't go as planned or that I could have done better, and let's build on those things. Let's not say we're going to do it, let's actually do it. So, with community being the topic of the day, stop competing with everybody else. Compete with yourself from yesterday. Because you'll always become a better you when you seek to improve on yourself every day. When you are your only competitor, you always become a better you. Because you're always working on you. You're adjusting things, you're evolving. And you're appreciating your journey. Another ingredient to success in community is to just care about the people. You know, we were having a conversation yesterday with this new partner, and I was speaking with them on people that want to make money as a business, but they do it in a distasteful way. And every business, you know, has to make money, and, you know, to keep going, businesses make money so they can pay their bills and so on and so forth. But when you focus merely on that, merely on making money, when it's only about the bottom line, you start to lose yourself. And eventually you start to lose customers. Community is about being honest. Community is about remembering why you got into it. If you just got into something for the money, you could do that with anything. But how many people with money and power and fame aren't happy? To be happy isn't through money, power, and fame. To be happy is through building up a community, having people come into your store, listen to your show, be a part of what you do because they appreciate you, they respect you, they like you, they believe you. When somebody comes into your store and says, I came back here because you did right by me, because you were honest with me, because you had good guest service, because you treated me with respect, because you were nice to my grandmother, because you said hello. That means something. It's building a community. When people say, I come back and I listen to your show, Dan, because you're the same off the air as you are on the air. You don't take a fake voice. You don't play things up. You don't change your opinion just to get people to freak out and yell at you and to get clicks. You're never trying to get clicks. You're trying to spread a positive message. You're sharing things in your own unique voice, and you're not pretending to be something that you're not. And whether you're speaking to one of us or a million of us, you treat us all the same. And when you have all of these listeners and all of these viewers, it's the same as when you have 10. You give everybody your best show. That's why I come back. That's why I want to listen. You know, communities are small, communities are big, but what keeps a community together is honesty, integrity, confidence, support, courage, love, faith. You know, I was talking with Josh and Anthony yesterday, and they were speaking on an event that they do, and I said, when you get people together to do something that they all love, like when you bring people together because of something that all of them love, they're all strangers, right? Arguably. Now you might come with friends and family and this and that, but you're coming in a group, and then there's another group and another group and another group, and a lot of you are strangers, but you all bond together for a common interest. This is something that we all like to do. This is something we all enjoy. And you have an opportunity in those moments to build bonds with total strangers over something that you both love. And we can't lose that as a society. Dating is hard now. Talking to people in public can be hard now. Why is it hard now? Because people through COVID are scared. People have been told to stay away from people. We've been conditioned to get into groups, to go with people that look like us and think like us and act like us and are like us. Divide and conquer. But see, I'm too smart for that. So are you. Because if I didn't reach out to people that were different religions, different backgrounds, different nationalities, different sexual orientations, man, woman, you know, old, young, political views, whatever. If I didn't open myself up to the world, I wouldn't have met the people that I consider the best people in my life. My inner circle, some of us are similar and some of us are different, and some of us are similar in this but different in that, and different in this but similar in that. But we all come together in love and passion and following your dreams and being proud of who you are and supporting each other and wanting to see a community get built. You know, there's beautiful things in life, and they come from not just seeing a section of the forest, but looking at the whole thing. You know, I'm one of those big picture people that if I want to see sometimes you get so focused on the one piece of the picture that you have to pull out of it, and you got to look. And when I get up in a plane, it's figurative, but it's also literal. When I get up in a plane and I'm above the world and I see the big picture, it helps me kind of clear my mind every time I do it. Not kind of, it does. I clear my mind, I reset, I get balanced. You know, and we have to do that. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in this that we don't see the whole thing. Right? And it's when you take the time to see the world, understand new things, you know, learn. People are like, how do I keep my brain strong? Alzheimer's, dementia, that scares me. And yeah, it's something that none of us want to have. And my family's had it. You know, Brendan and I spoke about his grandmother having it, and you know, Marissa's mother having it on the Marywood women's basketball team. And you know, we look back and we think about those things, right? We think about, we don't want to lose our brain, but if you continue to learn, my grandmother, my G-mama, that, you know, I spent so much of my life with and talking to, and always will, because I know she's up in heaven watching down, and I will see her again. Because I will crawl through the pits of hell to get back to my grandma, to my G, to see both of them. And, you know, when you reflect on those moments, she had dementia, but she was doing crossword puzzles. She was keeping her mind sharp. Even with dementia, she was trying to learn. She was trying to grow. She was challenging herself. So how, as a community, you look at an individual, think about if you had a bunch of individuals learning, growing, not making excuses, challenging themselves. That's how you build a strong community. It's a bunch of individuals saying, let's do better. Let's learn. Let's evolve. Let's grow. Let's keep these things that make us who we are. And you don't have to lose who you are by evolving. I've had to evolve as a company. I've had to learn new things, find new video feeds, see things that work, apply to new places. So many people talk about, I'm gonna. Well, I said something to Josh and Anthony last night. I said, this is what I want to do. And if I feel that in my heart of hearts, and that sticks with me and that stays with me, as I go through this journey of understanding myself, if it's something that I truly feel when I pray to God, when I say my prayers and I think about it and I reflect on it and I start writing, if that's something I really genuinely want to do, I'm going to do it. Because I believe in myself. And how cool would it be if we had a community of people that prayed on things and worked on things and reflected on things and then did the things they said that they were going to do? How many times are we let down by people, not because they're bad people, but because they didn't come through? They didn't do what they said they were going to do. They gave us empty promises. They didn't keep their word. You know, and Floyd Little said that. First day I met him, he said it to a few of us in the media. He said, your word is the most valuable thing you own. If you don't keep your word, you don't have any value. You're worthless. Your word is your bond. So when you say to someone, I'm going to help you, I want to help you, I want to work with you, I want to connect with you, I'm going to be there on Saturday for the party, I'm going to come see you at 1 o'clock. If you ever need me, call me. I will pick up. When you say I'm going to be there, be there. That's community. That's love. When you say I'm going to build my business, I'm going to become I knew when I was a junior in high school that I wanted to be a sportscaster. A junior in high school. I was 16 years old. What's my favorite number? 21. How old am I now? 37. From 16 to 37 is how many years? 21. I told myself 21 years ago, I want to be a broadcaster. And this November, I'll be a broadcaster for 20 years. Because I was a junior in high school, so then I went through senior year in high school, and then I literally started broadcasting when I walked into Marywood University in September. I was on the radio. When you say that you want to do something, that's beautiful, and that's great. So many people want to write a movie. So many people want to ask that girl out. So many people want to start a business. They want to landscape their home. So many people want to do things. But if they really wanted to do it, they would have done it. And it's one of the hardest truths, and you're going to hear it tomorrow at noon, the new showtime for Two Mics No Filter every Wednesday at noon Eastern time on youtube.com/@2micsnofilter, our show where we talk about everything with Andrea Smith and myself. And it goes beyond sports, which we do here as well. You definitely want to listen to that show. It's my newest baby in Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, but we discuss that. That people will do things that they want to do. So many people are going to tell you, I'm going to be there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But when somebody really wants to do something, that's when they're going to do it. For good, bad, or indifferent, if they want it, they will do it. If they really want it, they're going to do it. And it's a cold, hard truth in dating, and it's a cold, hard truth in business, and it's a cold, hard truth when you're on a team. That no matter what somebody says, if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And we keep trying to make people do it. Make your girlfriend do it. Make your boyfriend do it. Make the person that you're dating do it. Try to make your mom do it. Try to make your dad do it. Try to make your kids do it. Try to make your teammates do it. Try to make that person in your business do it. But if they wanted to, they would have. It doesn't mean you don't give a healthy nudge. It doesn't mean that you don't help and mentor. I'm not saying that. It's at the end of the day, you can bring a horse to water, but you cannot make the horse drink. If you try to force a horse to drink, you could make the horse drown. In order for you to truly make a difference, you can only try to make that difference. But whether that difference is made in that community with that person is up to that person. It's up to that community. You can go across every one of the 50 states and spread a positive message. But it doesn't mean that 50 states are going to hear you. It means you're going to talk with them. But it doesn't mean that they're all going to hear you. Because not everybody wants to listen. Not everybody's ready to hear it. And not everybody is who they say they are. When you're building a community, success in a community comes from a bunch of individuals working together that don't necessarily agree, but they all care. They love their community. My family is different. My friends are different. The businesses I work with, those owners, they're different. But why do we all come together? Why do we all work together? Because we want to grow together. We want to evolve together. We want to help the community together. You don't have to look the same, sound the same, and be the same to have a similar goal. We need to stop listening to people telling us if they look different than you, if they sound different than you, if they act different than you, if they believe in different things and do different things and like different things, then you can't be their friend. You can't work with them. You cannot have them in your home for dinner. All that is control. It's divide and conquer. God made all of us the same. Well, Dan, we don't all look the same. We don't all sound the same. We don't have the same money. We don't all live in the same place. We don't all have the same background. We don't all have the same experiences. So how can you say he made us all the same? Well, when you smile, does smiling look the same in every culture? Does crying look the same in every culture? Do we procreate the same in every culture? When we hug and we kiss, in every culture, that's a sign of love, is it not? At the basis of humanity, we're not different. See, when we're kids, we play in the sandbox with everybody. When we're kids, we don't know hate. When we're kids, we just want to have fun. We just want to learn. We just want to be a sponge. But the older we get, the more we start thinking things and letting people tell us things and saying, well, we can't do this because they said we can't do this, and we can't do that because they said we can't do that. We can't go here because they said we can't go here. But why not? Why not? Why can't we work together? See, if you want to be successful as an adult, you have to have, in a way, the heart of a child. You have to fall in love and seek to learn. See, kids, they're not jaded because life didn't hit them, right? Or if life hit them, they're so little they don't know yet. So when people say, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, I don't want to work with this person in business because I got screwed over in business, or I'm too afraid to try because the last time I tried, I felt like I failed. Or my ex-wife cheated on me, so I can't get married again because everybody's the same and every woman's the same. Every guy is the same. Why do we think like that? Because we've let life jade us. But when you have the innocence of a child, and you say, Dan, we can't go backwards. No, you can't go backwards. But remember, as a kid, you laugh and you play. And to what America needs right now, I think, is a lot of recess. We need to go outside, and we need to laugh, and we need to play. This world is missing laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. If you want to be a community, you have to remember what it's like to be a kid. The business that I'm going to announce at noon, the reason why I want to work with them is because they gave me something that I had as a kid that I never thought I'd have again. They brought out that child spirit in me to the point of tears in my eyes. I don't feel like I work a day in my life because I remember that 16-year-old kid that sat at the kitchen table and said, I want to be a sportscaster eating Lucky Charms. I remember that kid every day I wake up, 21 years later, because I gave that kid what he wanted, because I believed in him. Now, I don't think this world didn't try to stop me. It still does. But why do I do it? Because I remember the kid. Because I remember his heart. Because before anybody attacked him, before anybody told me he told him he couldn't, before anybody made fun of him, before anybody stood in his way and screwed him over and did this and did that and did the third, he believed in it, and that's what he wanted. The pureness of his dream, I carry 21 years later, because he is me and I am him. Life will jade you. Life will take the purity out. Life will take the innocence out. But you can get it back by remembering why you got started. It's so easy to not see the forest through the trees because the trees are in your face. Why do you love your job? Dan, I can't talk about that right now. The air conditioner blew and somebody stole something from the store yesterday and this happened and that happened and I got to call the security system and I got to do this and our internet's not working. Why do you love what you do? Because you wouldn't do any of these things if you didn't love it, right? Why are you calling the security system? Why are you trying to figure this out? Why are you trying to fix the AC if you don't care about this building because you don't care about this business? At the heart of what you do, we go through hell sometimes to remember the heaven that we're seeking. There is nobody that goes after their dreams. Nobody that, seeks to find the right person, the true person in marriage. Nobody that tries to find the right place to live. No one that chases their dreams professionally and personally is not going to go through hell. We're all going to go through hell. We have to go through hell. Accept that. That's why it's important with the company you keep, because when you go through hell, and you will, who do you have flanking you? When you're going through hell, who's by your side? People that got better things to do? People that are off in the corner texting? Or somebody's got their hand on your shoulder saying, hey, you're not going through this by yourself. I got you. And sometimes that's one person. And sometimes that's just God. But just God is everything. You don't have to believe what I believe. But God loves you whether or not you do. You don't have to agree with everything that I say. But I pray for you every day. See, because what I've learned about this world in 37 years is your ingredients to success when you wake up in the morning is to remember why you did it in the first place. Why are you there? If you wake up in the morning and you look at the person you're married to and you go, why did I marry this girl? Why did I marry this guy? Ugh, why did I do this? If you don't know, they're not going to tell you. Nobody's going to tell you. You have to know. On the hardest days, when they piss you off, why do you love them? When your kids drive you nuts, why do you love them? When your mom bugs you, nags you, ma, why do you love her? When you keep trying with your dad because he never seems to be consistent in your life, why do you try? So you have to remember why you do what you do. Because your why creates who you are. And it's how people come to know you. My why is the same. From Wake Up Call, the sports show, to Superpowered Pop, the entertainment show, to Comic Book Trails, the travel comic book and collectible show, to Do Diz with Dan, the Disney show where I help you plan your trips and do all that stuff in connection with it, and my passion for Disney, to Two Mics No Filter, the dating and relationships where we talk about everything under the sun show. They're all the same. How? Because my why is the same. I want to make you smile. I want to reach out to you. I want you to know you're not alone. I want to help you. I want to bring you something fun. I want to talk about something I'm passionate about to the people that are passionate about it so we can be passionate together. And you can be excited and I can be excited and we can have fun. Two Mics No Filter to teach people in dating, it's okay. I've been through crazy. You've been through crazy. We're going to get through it. Do Diz with Dan. Let me help you plan your Disney vacation. Let me help you have the best time at Disney. Let me take some of your stress away so you can go be a kid when you get there and have some fun. Comic Book Trails. Let me meet with the owners of these comic book and collectible shops all around the country, all around the world someday. Let me get to know you and why you do this, because I'm so passionate about it. I want to know why you're passionate about it. I meet so many cool people in it. Superpowered Pop. I get to interview actors, actresses, entertainers, writers, illustrators, people that created my favorite characters. Tom Lau, God rest his soul in heaven, made the Scarlet Spider. First person I ever interviewed for Superpowered Pop was, and I didn't even know at the time until I knew that I was sitting down next to the person that created the Scarlet Spider, who just so happens to be one of my favorite characters of all time. Wake Up Call. The sports world. We get to share and love about sports. We've had over 4,000 guests on the show. People that as a kid I would have loved to just brush shoulders with. Now we're friends. See, if you want something in your life, everybody wants something, but are you willing to go after it? Because if you're looking around right now and you're watching, you're listening to the show, and you're looking around your cubicle, or you're looking around your office, or you're wherever, and you're saying, I don't like this. If you're looking at your significant other and going, I don't want to be with this person. I settled. It's a tough reality. But if that's your reality, this is one life. This is one chance, one opportunity. That's all you got. You got one shot. How are you going to take that shot? Single day, and I look around me, I say, Dan, you better put your big boy pants on because we got to go to work today. Because we got a job to do. We love this job. We take it seriously. Why am I 37 years old and single? Because who I was married to is not right for me. And she deserves to be happy, and so do I. And I haven't found anybody close to being that person that I can rely on, who can rely on me, and we can build a life together. I'm sick of being half of the equation and never seeing the other half come through. So I'll be patient as long as I have to be, as much as I don't want to be. Because when you want something in life, you don't settle. You seek. Because the beauty is in the journey. It wasn't easy to sit in this chair and own my own business. It's not an easy thing to do. But I look around me today and I see what's here, and I say, we're going to have to buy a building soon. And we're going to have a lot of floors. And we're going to have to put some people in there. And we're going to have to be doing some things. Because we're growing. Because we're blossoming. See, every dream is a beautiful thing. But a dream without a goal and a goal without a plan, it's just a cloud. It's gone. It passes by. So I come to you this morning on Wake Up Call, and always, and we talk about the ingredients to success. We talk about community, and we talk about achieving things, seeking things individually and together. If you want your best life, live it. Have the courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. That's what people think. That's what I thought. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is saying, I'm scared out of my mind, but I'm more scared if I don't do it. I'm more terrified of what my life will look like if I don't try. I am terrified to ask that girl out. I am terrified to move from the place that I live my whole life and go somewhere else. I am terrified to go to places that I don't know. I'm terrified to let go of that friendship that I know is not good for me, but they've been in my life forever and they've been a crutch. I can lean on them. I'm terrified. I'm terrified to chase my dreams. I'm terrified to get on that stage. I'm terrified. What if somebody doesn't like what I do? What if someone doesn't approve? I'm terrified. We all are. But most of us let that fear stop us from what we want. Do you know what's scarier than fear to me? Do you know what's more scary than all the things that stand in my way? Not doing it. That's more scary. Not trying. That is more scary. I don't believe I've ever failed myself in my life because I've always tried. I've always tried. I've always sought to do something good. My intentions are the same. The only thing more terrifying in life than all of the things that stand in front of us is if you don't chase your dreams. Because I promise you, that thing, that decision will haunt you more than anything else in your life that will haunt you. So it is my prayer, my hope, my wish that today and every day, your ingredients to success become trying, even when you're afraid, even when people tell you you suck, that you can't, that you won't, that you'll never. You need haters. Cat Williams, I don't listen to a ton of his comedy. He's not one of my favorites as of right now. But there's a Cat Williams track. There's a piece of his comedy that I listen to all the time. And he says, you need haters. Why are you mad at haters? Let the haters do their job. Their job is to hate. Let them do their job. And if there's any haters in the room that don't have anybody to hate on, feel free to hate on me. Embrace that on your journey. For those of you that believe what I believe, that wear a cross on your chest, what did Jesus Christ do? Did he do anything wrong? Did he hurt anybody? No. God lives in him. God as man. Man connected to God. What did Jesus do? He got stoned, kept walking. Got spit on, kept walking. Had a crown of thorns put on his head, kept walking. Carrying a cross, fell 3 times, kept walking. He carried a cross a long journey just so they could nail him to it. He brought himself to his own death. Having people all the way tell him he's a joke, he's an imposter, he's fake, he's nothing. They hate him. But he knew who he was, who he is, and who he always will be. And he knew that no matter what they believed, he knew the truth. He had faith in God. And he believed in himself. He knowingly went to his own death because he had faith that what God promised him would be revealed. When you hear that story, why are you scared to open a business? Nobody's asking you to get stoned and carry a cross to your own death. Nobody's asking you to be nailed to it. They're asking you to try. I'm asking you to try. Because when you look at the businesses that are up on this page, Jay Cartini of Carvel DeWitt tries. Pete and Amy and the team at Mother's Cupboard try. Danny and his team at the Wildcat, try. Pat and Sue and PB&J's Lunchbox, try. Jim Sikowski and his team at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, try. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Lorraine and Chad and the team, try. Chick-fil-A Watertown, Catherine and Merritt and his team and her team, try. Avicolli's John and Nick and the team, try. Jim and Angela, Jojo and the team at Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, try. 317 at Montgomery Street, Natalie and Joel and their team and Chef Roy, try. Great Lakes Honda City, everybody I know that's built that over time, including Manny, God bless him in heaven, try. Pizza Man, the Delia family, tries. Lemoyne College, Dr. Linda Lemura, the president. A.D. Barbaretta, Pete DeLora and the board of trustees, the coaches, the student athletes, everybody I've met on that campus tries. Brian and Stratton College of Syracuse, Nick Dmitrievsky, Alex Grigorita, Sean Peak, Clay Gagan Sherman, Tay Baker, Brian Yurton, Mary Hawkins. What do? The student athletes, everybody, they try. That's why we work together. Because they don't make excuses. They try. They work hard. They inspire me. That's why we don't call them sponsorships on Wake Up Call or Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. We call them partnerships. And to the people that don't understand it, it's because they don't have those. If you don't understand a partnership, it's very basically simple. A partnership is where 2 or more entities work together toward a common goal. That's why I call them partnerships, because I work with the businesses. They don't work for me. I don't work for them. We don't work at each other. And they're not a sponsor where they just throw me money and say, have a great day. We'll see you in a year when we sign the next contract. It's a partnership. We work together. We spread ideas. We help each other. We lift each other up. We go beyond simply being businesses. And that's a reason why I have formed friendships and bonds with every single one of these businesses. Because when you work with good people and you find each other, it goes beyond simply being a business. And I love that. Greg said, I always enjoy when you say that. So many individuals want to talk and say they want to do, but not actually want to take legit action on those words. Yeah. the majority of humanity. Right? It's the majority of humanity. How many people said, hey, I'm going to lead this army. I want us to be free. How many people did? How many people thought what Abraham Lincoln thought, but had the courage to do it? You think he wasn't scared? Half the country disagreed with him. Would you follow your dreams if half the country disagreed with you? If 25 of the 50 states said that you were trash and you were a failure and you were a joke, would you chase your dreams? If half the country said you suck? What if a quarter of the country said it? What if one state said it? See, that's what people don't get. Everybody gets hate when they chase what they want in their lives. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about your life. At the end of your life, when you meet God, and he goes, did you follow all your dreams? And you say, no. He says, why? You say, because people were mean to me. People made me feel like I couldn't. I was scared. You're going to be proud of that? I want to look God in the face and go, I was terrified. I was angry. I had some tough moments. I had some come to Jesus moments, but I never stopped chasing what I wanted. And that's why I caught it. When I tell you I want to be a screenwriter, if that's what I really want, I'm going to do it. If I tell you I want to sing and I really want to do that, then I'm going to do that. If I tell you I want to do stand-up and I really want to do that, then I'm going to do that. If I feel like I need to wait on it or I need to do it, whatever I feel is right in my heart of hearts, when I pray to God, I'm going to chase it, because since I was little, I call it the chill. It goes up and down my spine. It's this feeling. It's not a chill like a scary chill. It's not a I'm cold chill. It's this chill that says to me, yeah, you're making the right decision. Yes, this is the right way to go. When you follow that chill put me on the set of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That chill put me in the seat right now as a broadcaster. That chill put me on 3 ESPNs and everything else that I've done. When you believe in something, when you shake somebody's hand, when you look them in the eye and you get excited, you get that chill, you feel it. That's how I know I'm doing something right. Because it's God going, yeah. And I know when I'm doing something wrong because I feel it immediately. I could say something on the air, go off the air, and go, no, it didn't feel right. Didn't feel right. I didn't like the delivery. I should have done more research, whatever it is. Because when you're honest with yourself and you know who you are and you're going after your dreams, you could tell the difference. You could feel it. And it's invigorating and it's exciting and it's fun. But we live life like we got a million more years to go. You could die at any time. The world can end today. Why wait to do the things that you want to do, to fight for the things that you want to fight for? I was working at jobs, writing my ideas and my bullet points and my topics for my sports show. When I was doing the show on the weekend and I was working another job all the way up to it, I was spending the majority of the time at that other job writing for that because that's where I wanted to be. When I was away from it, I wanted to be there. When I was there, I didn't want to leave. That's how you know you're doing the right thing. That's how you know you're married to the right person. Because you never want to leave. And when you're away, you want to be back. That's how you know. So if you want ingredients to success, check yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be open with yourself. Understand your life is not going to be perfect. You're going to go through heartache. It's going to be difficult. And if you chase after what you truly want in your life, I promise you, it's not going to be easy. But the alternative of not going after what you want and not chasing what you want and not seeking your dreams, I can't even live in that world. I can't even think about what that world looks like because I don't want to know it. Have the courage to take a step forward today, even if it's a tiny one. I'd rather you take a step in the right direction today than to keep going backwards or sidestepping. What did Tim Lester say? He looks for the quarterbacks that step up in the pocket, the ones that know that they could take the contact, that put themselves in danger in order to make a better pass. When they step up in the pocket, they're closer to their receiver, they can see more, and they can make a better pass. But how many people are willing to step toward the line of danger to get a better view of where they're going toward? We have to go forward, right? The people that chase their dreams, we're the crazy ones. We're the ones that drive into the storm and not away from it. Because we know on the other side of the storm is where we need to get, and there's no way around it. See, most of us do this dance with the tornado. We go side to side, back, side to side, back, side to side, back, and the tornado's like, I'm just going to keep spinning. I'm not letting you get over here. You got to figure a way to get around that tornado. It's not easy, but everything you want in your life is on the other side of fear. I'm a true believer that when the devil stands there with all the fear in your face, that right over the devil's shoulder, God's standing there, ready to give you a hug. Got a box. That gift is waiting right there. And all you have to do is go around it. Well, Dan, it's not easy to go around the devil. Says who? Says who? The devil? Don't give power to your fear. Give power to your strength. Give power to your dreams. Every time you're afraid, remind yourself why you're doing it. Every time you let somebody get in your head with their negativity, say something positive. This is what I said to God. I said, every time somebody does something negative to me, I'm going to do something good immediately in the community, either toward myself or toward somebody else. So like if somebody says something mean to me on Twitter, I'm going to hold the door open for somebody at Wegmans. I'm going to negate all the negativity by doing a positive action in response. Because I can't control what comes my way. I can only control what I do, in the hopes that all the seeds that you plant will eventually bring good things your way. Nobody in this world that goes after what they want does it without strife. Stop thinking that if the road is easy, it's the right road. If the road is easy, it's the wrong one. If the road is a piece of cake, it's not the good one. Pave your own road on this planet. Leave a mark. Do something good. Help somebody. Because the legacy that you can control is how you treat people and how you affect people. You can't control what people say and do. But my dad always said, don't give them a reason. They're going to say horrible things about you. Don't ever make them right. They're going to say, I hate Dan Tortora. And someone's going to go, why? Don't give them logical why reasons. They can say whatever they want to say. The truth is a mother, though, because it always comes back. Everything always comes out in the wash. Trust that. I've lived that. There are hard lessons you're going to learn in your life. But adversity makes you who you are. Because as I told a class on entrepreneurship and business years ago at Johnson College in Scranton, Pennsylvania, you will find out very quickly in your life if you love something or if you think you love it. Because if you love it, you will do anything. If you think you love it, you will QUIT faster than you can even imagine. You'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And there's like, oh, I could do that, or I could eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm going to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It'll be that easy to leave it. But when you love it, you're going to be sitting there doing what I do. Be in the studio and it's 5 o'clock and you're like, did I eat today? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't eat. I'm saying you get so caught up in what you love that you don't even think about other stuff because you're just in it. So follow your passion. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. And if you want to build up a good community, have the courage to take a stand. Have the courage to be a leader. And have the courage to be an example. Don't wait for the example. Be the example. I'm going to read you a quote. For those of you that are on our Instagram, I thank you so much for your support because you all are awesome. And I put up pretty much daily. I try to put up positive quote every week I do. And pretty much daily I try to put up something positive so it's up there. I put this up, and whenever it's a quote from me, if it's something that I created, I hand sign all of them individually. So this one says, that I wrote yesterday, why wouldn't you chase your dreams? Going after what your heart desires is the only way I live my life. What's the other option? To play it safe? Play it easy? Listen to the naysayers? No way. I'm going to get what my heart yearns for. Have the courage to take a step forward today. Those are your ingredients to success. Proudly presented by the fantastic people at Avicolli's. We're going to be there tonight, and I hope you come out and see us. Do you need an excuse? We're going to be sitting there in our leadership lounge. We do it every single year during the summer. So we have our Liverpool Leadership Lounge, 3 L's, and I'll be sitting there enjoying some quality time with 2 awesome people in our community. So I'll be there with Ari Lieberman and Dan Heller. And so Dan's the superintendent for Liverpool. Ari Lieberman is the athletics director for Liverpool High School and the Warriors. And Ari and Dan and myself will be sitting on the pizza side of Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, to discuss, from a leadership standpoint, everything that's happened, the success of the Liverpool area and their teams, as well as things that are coming up in the community and things that have happened over time, and reflecting on how these new projects and things that are done, how they've been so far and what's coming up and what we can be excited about. It's like a little town hall at Avicolli's, which is really cool. So come out and see us tonight, June 27th, 7 o'clock, on the pizza side of Avicolli's. On the casual side, we'll be sitting in the booth doing our show. You can also watch it on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and you can listen to it on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, the same channels that you're on with us every Monday through Friday during our normal scheduled broadcast from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check it out. You can also go and check out our shows on Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, Podchaser, Boomplay, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. I gave a giant thank you to all of our partners here in the community, and of course I'd like to make this note. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It spins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we bring you our exclusive Dolphin content. AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, airs free every first and third Wednesday of each month. And, of course, every second to fourth Wednesday, we bring you the Dolphin Dive. This month was a little bit different with Bob traveling and everything going on with the move to D1. We wanted to focus on the Road to D1 series with the coaches speaking on preparing their teams for Division I. So you've seen a lot more Dolphin Dive. Under promise, over deliver, because there's other months where you've seen a lot more AD and DT. You could check out all of the content by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and, of course, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Make sure to click subscribe for more information on your Dolphins. Go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can catch your Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call. Our newest episode featuring esports for the first time and Brian Yurton, their new head coach. You can check that out on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. and on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. Our content with the Bobcats gets updated on the BSC Syracuse tab on WakeUpCallDT.com. And of course, you could subscribe to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as I mentioned before, and search Bobcat Buzz. For student athletes, coaches, and administration, national champions with the Bobcats, you can find all of our content on those channels. And of course, for more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcat Nation. I want to thank my incredible guest of Tim Lester for joining me for the majority of the show today. And I want to thank you for joining me for the Ingredients to Success, which we did for an hour. It's supposed to be a 10-minute segment, but we did it for an hour. Why? Because I go where my spirit takes me. And I spread a message hoping that it can help you, it can help me to reflect on, it can help somebody. So be good to yourself, take a step forward today, and follow your dreams. Remember, in 10 minutes, I got a huge announcement. I brought us all the way to the doorstep of it. So you only have to be patient for 10 more minutes to find out who our newest partner is with Wake Up Call. Find it on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And it'll also be on YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT. As we always leave you with, and I mean from the bottom of my heart, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon. Be well.